Namaste and greetings, and welcome to the Center for Spiritually Integrated Arts, a Centers for Spiritual Living teaching center. I'm Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson, the founding minister and spiritual director. If you ever have questions about who I am, who we are, what we do, what is Spiritually Integrated Arts? What is a teaching center? What is Centers for Spiritual Living? What is metaphysical spirituality? What is New Thought? Science of Mind and Spirit? How do I become a member? How can I support, tithe, and donate? All of these questions and so many more. Send an email. You have two options. SIAADMIN, Spiritually Integrated Arts, admin at spirituallyintegratederarts.org, or spirituallyintegratederarts@gmail.com. Either of those will work. You can also visit our website, www.spirituallyintegratederarts.org. Now, you may be wondering, where else can I find and follow? There are several other social media platforms that you can also subscribe and follow. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and our YouTube channel, where you can also find all of our Sunday messages and more. I look forward to hearing from you soon. I look forward to you being a part of this beloved community. Because we are a virtual community, it doesn't matter where in the world you are. This can also be your spiritual community, because you can have more than one. Anywhere that you feel supported, anywhere you are spiritually fed is home, is community, is relationship. So I look forward to dialoguing more, conversing more, getting to know you. Much love and appreciation. Live long and prosper. Chat with you soon. Take care. Namaste and good morning. So as we close out September, just be mindful that October dates for our After Sunday Zoom fellowship have yet to be determined. So check in that first October date, and we should have dates scheduled, which might actually end up being including that first Sunday. So just be prepared and be ready. But if you do not already have the Zoom link to join us in the After Sunday Message Zoom Fellowship Hall, send an email to either of the two email addresses on your screen, and the link will be sent to you. Do you currently visit the website? Do you currently visit any of our social media sites as well? Like, do you follow? Have you subscribed? Do you share? Have you clicked like? All of those things. If you haven't, then this is your invitation to like, to share, to follow, to subscribe, all of the platforms that we are on. And any of our former previous Sunday messages and other things can be found on our YouTube channel. And if there are certain things you're looking for that you can't find, send an email. You also notice on your screen two QR codes. One is for Givelify, the other is for PayPal, so that you may donate, tithe, and support this divine, beloved community, this ministry, in doing the work that we are intending, the work that is our mission, our vision, our purpose to do. And you are supporting financially to assist us in doing exactly that. If you have questions regarding any of that, feel free to, once again, visit the website, because there's a lot of information there, and feel free to send an email to inquire further. Are you currently a member? Do you want to know more about membership? Would you like to become a member of this beloved community, even if you are currently a member of some other community? Because we are virtual, Because we believe in the wealth and the abundance of the all that is, it is possible for you to be a member of more than one community, just so you know. Now, how do you become a member of this community? Send an email, followed by watch the member orientation video, followed by fill out the member application, and finally, you will receive your digital membership card and membership certificate. Once again, send an email and request more information about membership, and the member orientation video will be sent to you. And then the application. And then once that has been received by us, specifically our secretary, then your membership card and certificate will be sent, and you will officially be a member of this beloved community. Did you know that on Wednesday night we have a Science of Mind and Spirit discussion group facilitated by me from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we discuss and talk about how to apply the science of mind and spirit in this 21st century era, Science of Mind and Spirit 4.0. And on Thursday night, the study group facilitated by Tracy, also same time, 7 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That group goes over the questions that I end the Sunday message with. If this is your first time, you haven't been here before, be ready. Because at the end of the message, I always leave. There's always a slide with 4, 5, sometimes 6 questions to help us engage and practice and have conversation, deeper, meaningful conversation about whatever we learned, whatever we have questions about, whatever we were invited to do during the Sunday message. So if either of these appeal to you and you want to know more, once again, send an email to either of those 2 email addresses shown previously. Coming very soon, we have a non-accredited class, The Art and Practice of Unapologetic Audacious Self-Care. It will be 4 weeks, Tuesdays. It will start October 3rd, coming quickly. And this is to help us prepare for the upcoming holiday season. It is a love offering based class, and also the time is 7 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. More information, send an email and let me know what you need in order to register and join. Our first accredited class for the new year will be Self Mastery, Emergence of the True Self. Specific dates yet to be determined. I'm thinking right now towards the end of January, but unsure yet. This will be a 6-week course. Early bird registration. Do so now if you are interested. If it ends up being January, the cutoff date for early bird will probably be November-ish, early December-ish, unsure. Regular registration will be $200. For more information, send an email. Breathe as we get ready to dive into our last Sunday message of September. Love wins. Breathe. We are changing the world by leaning into love, right? That's the goal. Now, last week's message, I know some of you were rather uncomfortable about the concept of loving everybody, loving the quote unquote enemy. And it's very challenging to convey the depth of what this invitation actually is in the short span of time. Like, it would take a workshop kind of thing to really dive into how do we learn to love and practice love towards those people we really have a challenging time loving. But ideally, and that's where we are this week, ideally, what we are doing is practicing this love so powerfully that we are changing the world by leaning into it. We are advocating for ourselves and for each other's right to express love in our own unique and diverse ways that helps to create a world that actually works for all, for everyone. Regardless of what challenges we may be facing in our personal lives or in the world as a whole collective, love is always the answer. And remember, love is a synonym for God, source, spirit. So spirit is always the answer. Love is always the answer. The divine is always the answer. Being mindful and recognizing that the universe makes no mistakes. Every experience is unfolding for the highest and best for the world at large. Mm, mm, we were going to do a remix on that one because that is one of those things that we say for linguistic convenience. Every experience is unfolding. Yeah, not every experience. Every experience is unfolding. Yes. Based upon the laws of cause and effect. Yes. And yet, what may currently be unfolding and expressing may not be for our highest and best. But what we are invited to do is to practice principle so that when this, whatever it is, happens, we are able to bring love to that situation and then move it into what is our highest and best. When we live from the understanding that love always wins, we consciously, actively see exactly how love is always unfolding within us, around us, before us. Breathe. So once again, this invitation is not to bypass or malpractice the idea of every experience is unfolding for the every experience is unfolding and every experience is outpicturing, every experience is the effect of some cause. Yes. And when we bring love to it, when we bring spirit to it, when we bring truth and principle to it, we are then able to turn whatever the circumstance is. We're able to find that space there where grace and compassion and nurturing then transform the situation. For example, not too long ago, toward the end, I don't remember the exact date, but toward the end of August, there was a white supremacist who killed 3 African Americans in a Dollar Tree, dollar store. Nonetheless, he walked in with certain markings on his guns and manifestos expressing that his intention was to kill the N-words. That situation, that experience is not the unfoldment for the highest and best of that community or that family who mourns, or it is not in the highest and best for them. What's occurring in Florida, where woke goes to die and all manner of foolishness, is not the experience of the unfolding that is for the highest and best. It is not. But when we understand who and what we are, when we understand how to practice love and how to bring love to the situation, then we know how to speak truth from and as that which is infinite power to this nonsense and this pseudo power and this racism or sexism or whatever that is. We bring love to the situation by actively embodying it, by actively practicing it. And in doing so, we support, we nurture, we care, we love through whatever the experience is. Breathe. Because once again, this is a topic where we could easily go into a workshop regarding it. Dr. Holmes says, love is the grandest healing and the drawing power on earth. Love is the grandest healing and drawing power on earth. Love heals and love draws unto itself love and wonderment. And when we embody it and express it, then we become the embodiment of this healing. We become the embodiment of this drawing power. And we draw unto us. So see, once again, when we go into this place where woke goes to die, and we go there knowing who and what we are, then we draw to us others who are like-minded, others who desire healing, others who desire this progressive, revolutionary change to create a world that works for all. We draw that to us. It's not specifically to us, it's the energy that we are embodying. It is the divine. We become magnetized to love and healing and power and presence, to being woke. And in so doing, we transform, we transmute, we transcend, we do whatever it is that is called for. Just like surgery, just like being a physician, sometimes medication is the answer. Sometimes time is the answer. Sometimes surgery is the answer. There's a variety of ways to treat whatever the dis-ease or illness or injury may be. In the same way, when we move with this power of love, sometimes it's simply being present. Sometimes it's through a conversation. Sometimes it's not specifically by praying, although yes, but it's being the prayer itself, being the embodiment of principle and truth, knowing that simply saying hello carries the vibration of healing, carries the vibration of transformation. Simply saying, I love you, anchors in the law, which always says yes. And the law, knowing that I love you from this place of what we are talking about, from verity consciousness, I know that I am that which is. I love you. The vibration of that is, and you are blessed. And there is gratitude, and there is healing, and there is transformation. Even though none of those words were spoken, the energy that vibrates through the I love you is that energy. Breathe. Dr. Holmes also reminds us that nothing can keep us or separate us from the love of God. How great a comfort that is, because what joy it is to know that all is well with the soul. And remember, what did I just reference? Sometimes things are not all that well, so then our invitation becomes, and we are called to bring that wellness to the body. Now, why is body in quotation marks? Because in our Declaration of Principles, we reference that the universe is the body of God. So we bring this wellness to everything and everyone. We bring it to every city and every neighborhood, to every courtroom, to every prison cell, to every hospital room, to every surgery room, to every schoolhouse, to every college classroom and campus. We bring this love and this wellness and this wholeness and this perfection to everyone and everything. All is well, because nothing can separate us from, nothing can deny us, nothing can remove the love that is God, that is incarnating as us right now. And what a comfort, what a joy, what a amazing and wonderful realization to know. Breathe. Whole, perfect, and complete. So in the midst of this idea of being whole, perfect, and complete, though, there's a question. Because there are all kind of germs. We understand this scientifically or biologically. There are all kind of germs and bacteria floating around. Just ask Tracy. Tracy will tell you. She got them quantified, qualified, and categorized. Tracy got Post-it notes on. But we understand this. So it's easy to say, or, from this level of the physicality or the biology, it's easy to ask the question, infected. Are you infected? Have you been infected? Right? Like that's an easy, simple question to ask. But if we're going to ask the question, and I'm sure this photo is freaking Tracy out right now. Wish I was upstairs to watch. What are you infected with? because it's important to identify the type of infection in order to best treat it, to eliminate it, to cure it, and to heal it. But we have to be able to identify the infection. Now, you may be thinking I'm talking about, COVID or, you know, yeah, I'm not. Now, yes, biologically, chemically, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about in terms of consciousness. I'm talking about what are we infected with? What toxic pathogens of belief? What toxic ideologies? What toxic consciousness are we infected with? Any number of these and more. So, see, we can't treat it if we can't identify it. What does it mean? How does it show up? What is the consciousness that is back of it that is creating this to show up as an experience? So, a white supremacist, what even creates the ideology in consciousness of someone to become or to be whatever that, what is that? What does that mean? What is the consciousness that creates it? And then what is the consciousness that eliminates or treats or cures or heals it? And when I say eliminate it, I mean eliminate that consciousness. I mean eliminate the person, eliminate the belief system so that it's not necessary, so that racism is not necessary for anyone, period. So that sexism is not necessary. It's no longer in existence. It's no longer an option because we have evolved so far beyond, right? Like in the same way that we could look at a lot of scientific things that we have moved so far beyond. We have them in museums and stuff, the telephone. We have this version of the telephone in the museum. And some people have, a cutesy house version of it, but it's not the same. It's a modern phone made to look like the old phone of turn the knob because there ain't but one place to call. Turn. We have moved beyond that. We have eliminated the need for that in lieu of the need for or the replacement with a smartphone. How do we do the same thing in consciousness? So all of these things and more are no longer in existence. We have transmuted and transformed. We have healed. Breathe. Marianne Williamson invites us. Love is what we were born with. It's what we're born as. Fear, non-life affirming fear, is what we have learned here. The spiritual journey is the relinquishment, the surrendering of, the unlearning of this non-life affirming fear and the acceptance of love back into our hearts, our minds, and our spirits and our lives. Now remember, I separate and clarify non-life affirming fear and life affirming fear. Life affirming fear is once again, what saves your life if you have to run out of a burning building. That fear is normal, it is natural, it is biological. There's no need to eradicate it. Non-life affirming fear, fear of failure, fear of disappointing someone, fear of all kinds of things. These are what we would call man-made. Humans have, based upon our circumstances and our indoctrination, we have created these, which I could sit right here and simply go off into daydream land and scare myself by thinking about all of the, well, what if? What if? Ooh, oh, wait a minute. Oh my goodness. And by doing so, I can notice my heart rate is elevated. I've increased the amount of cortisol in my system through the fear and the worry of. That's non-life affirming. That stuff is what we have learned here, been conditioned by. Our invitation is to lean into, as I said in that first slide way back when, lean into love and allow love to heal. Allow love to transform us. Now, once again, it's very important to know that there are times when we are indoctrinated with the germs of and the bacteria of life. And it's one thing for it to be, outside of us. But there comes a time when we have now absorbed it. It's in our consciousness to such a degree where I can, like I said on that other, I can imagine the worst case scenario. It's not happening around me right now. I can imagine it. Why? Because it's in my belief system. It's in my consciousness now. I have been so infected by the bugs of that collective fear and imaginings and dread that is now in my own consciousness. Now, what kind of things am I referring to? Because these are the things that have convinced us that we are separate from God, or that we are, disempowered or less than, or whatever. Whatever. Any of those and all of those. They're in our consciousness. Now, someone offered them to us at one point, a teacher, a parent, a sibling, someone. Someone taught us what it means to have lack and scarcity. Someone taught us what it is to feel shame or guilt and any number of other things. Make us feel unworthy till we have embodied it, absorbed it, and now we feel in our own consciousness unworthy. We no longer need someone to tell us or convince us that we are unworthy. We've done it ourselves. So the invitation then is, how do we bring love to bear and heal? How do we, as Marianne Williamson said, how do we unlearn, transcend, dissolve, eradicate any of that non-life affirming fear, the non-life affirming consciousness, all of that stuff? The work is to get rid of it. And then, since we're talking viruses and whatnot, then is to have the vaccine that brings love into our system. And then that becomes what our consciousness is flooded with. In 1 John 4:18, verse in the Bible, it says, because such love has no fear, life affirming fear, once again, biological, normal and natural, non-life affirming fear. Such love has no fear, because perfect love, effective love, true love expels fear. It expels doubt, non-life affirming doubt. It expels worry. It expels the viruses, the bacteria, and the germs of the collective consciousness. It expels them from our system. But it's a practice. And Frank reminds us how wonderful it is that nobody need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world. Now, once again, there is this idea, perfectionism. Very easily could have gone on that slide before about these are the things that hold us back, hold us down, deny us our power. And oftentimes, perfectionism is one of them. We feel like it has to be perfect. All of the conditions have to be perfect before we begin. And we don't. We can start at any given moment, right where we are, to improve ourselves, to improve our relationships, to improve our finances, to improve the world. We need not wait. We can do it right here and right now. Now, if you saw the movie The Man of Steel, then you may remember this scene where Lois Lane asked Superman, what does the S stand for? And he reminds her that it is not an S on my world. On my world, it means hope. Love brings us into the energy of hope and faith and action. Hope, love, faith, action. And in that, all of us have the same ability that quote unquote Superman has to be a beneficial presence in the world. Now, that initial intro slide talked about advocacy, being an advocate. And when we look at the word advocate, because it can be said two ways, to advocate and to be an advocate. The noun is someone who supports, someone who champions, someone who is a patron, a supporter, a spokesperson, a protector. The verb, to advocate, same thing. The verb of recommending, supporting, endorsing, lobbying for, vouching for, favoring, etc. So Superman is sort of a metaphysical, metaphorical expression of what it means to be an advocate. As a superhero, superheroes advocate for those who are, in need. They support them. They show up on their behalf. They rescue them. Now, we're not talking about savior syndrome because that is not true advocacy. Advocacy empowers, right? It speaks up for when that person or whatever either is not in the room, is in the room, but for whatever reason, they are not feeling comfortable enough to speak up for themselves. So, an advocate, one who is going to engage in advocacy, says it, excuse me, like if I don't do it, but suppose I was hanging out with a group of male friends at a bar and one of them makes a joke about women. Well, there's no women present. Do I speak up? Do I advocate for, in favor of ending toxic patriarchy? Do I speak up to end the toxic masculinity? Do I say something? Now, we can do that with all kinds of inappropriate humor, whether it's related to sexism, homophobia slash homomisia, ableism, anything in there, all of that stuff. Now, how do we develop the fortitude to be able to speak up and advocate for others? Well, we have to be clear on what it even means. So, in this concept of the pyramid of accountability, which I refer to as the pyramid of advocatability, we see that there are degrees of there's the active ally who does this, there's the accomplice who does that, there's the co-conspirator who does that. Now, I already know that there are a lot of people in New Thought that are going to buck up against the concept of accomplice or co-conspirator because in their minds, those are not good things. Okay, fine. We want to play word salad. I don't mind. So, for the sake of our conversation, for those individuals, we will refer to being a co conspirator and an accomplice as being a co creator. You are co creating an environment of safety, an environment of empowerment. You are co creating an environment where diversity and inclusion and celebration of and honoring of said diversity is present. You are co-creating an environment. You are co-creating relationships. Breathe. And we're going to talk more about that word co-create in a moment. Dr. Holmes says, if we look at love long enough, we shall become lovely. For this is the way of love. God is love. If we gaze longingly at joy, it will make its home with us. And we shall enter its portals and be happy and joyful and vibrant and well. See, this is one reason why it's often said that we are the sum total of our five closest friends or the people, our five closest, whoever they are, the people who are closest to us, because we start to resemble that which we are surrounding ourselves with and by. And this is also what it means when we say the drawing power. Because when we become so empowered and so loving and so much of an advocate, we draw to us those who will also see and then become. We represent, right? So it's the idea of if we look at Superman long enough, we shall become super. If we look at Wonder Woman long enough, we shall become wonderful, right? We could think of it that way. If we look at God, if we see God in everything and everywhere we look long enough, then we recognize and see it in, through, and as ourselves. We draw unto us that which we are being. But it's a practice, and it means doing the work. Now, I know some folks don't like that word work. Fine, it's practice. Just like as an artist, I practice drawing. Sign language, I practice to become fluent. Practice fluency to become an interpreter. Practice whatever it is, throwing a clay pot, cooking a meal. Practice to become better at it. Michael Singer invites, energy can heal, and that's why love can heal. As you explore your inner energy, a whole world of discovery opens up to you. Energy can heal, love can heal. Energy and love are synonymous. God can heal because God is energy. Energy is God. There is only God. And as you recognize and explore your inner, whether we call it inner, your energy, period, as you explore your energetic self, a whole world of possibility and discovery then becomes available and opens up to you, for you, and as you. Which means when things happen, whatever those things may be, when you are assailed by the germs and the bacteria of that consciousness, you have fortified yourself. Referring to love, 1 Corinthians says, 6, love does not delight in evil, but rejoices in truth. Another translation, love does not rejoice about injustice, but love rejoices whenever the truth wins out. So the germs and the bacteria of the collective consciousness fly towards us, show up around us. We are so fortified in love that we are able to be an advocate. We are able to have the antidote so that these things do not get past our barrier. We are well fortified. And when we see injustices and untruths, because we are anchored and grounded in love and in the practice and the principles of love, we don't delight in the effects of, or what we would call evil when we see it in the world. Hitler. We don't delight in that. We rejoice in the truth, and we know that the truth and love and healing will and must win out when we practice it. It must be a practice. Verse 7 says, love always protects, advocates. Being a co-creator, conspirator of love. Love always trusts and hopes and perseveres. The other translation, love never gives up. Love never loses faith. Love is always hopeful. Love endures through every experience and every circumstance. Are we willing to love in this way? Are we willing to practice love in this way, to be so powerful that we love as an ally, we love as an advocate, we love as co-creators, and these become one and the same. To be an ally is to be love. To be an advocate is to be love. To be a co creator is to be love. They are one and the same. Are we ready and willing? Remember, if you look at the something that is beautiful long enough, lovingly enough, you become beautiful. When you look at love long enough, you become lovely. One and the same. When we practice it to this degree, there is no separation or difference between love and ally, love and advocate, love and co creator. So that once again, when the germs and the bacteria and the viruses of the collective consciousness fly at us or around us in the atmosphere, we, like Neo, with the bullets being the metaphysical representation of the consciousness of trauma and hurt and harm and racism and sexism. We, like Neo, so Morpheus, what are you telling me? That I will be able to dodge this consciousness? No, Neo, what I am telling you is that when you are ready, you won't have to dodge the consciousness because it won't be present for you. It still exists until such time as we have eliminated and healed it totally. But when we are so grounded, that which is whatever that is, it doesn't show up for us. Not in our specific life lived experiences. It doesn't show up right there. And what I'm saying is, for example, several years ago, because I think that was the last time it's happened. Several years ago, while walking, you've heard this story, while walking through DC, a group of young white guys scream out a window and call me the N word. They hurled a bullet of the N word at me. I didn't recognize that it was me that they were referring to because I was in the zone, right? I'm walking and I'm thinking and whatever and enjoying the sights and, whatnot of walking through DC. So I heard it, but I didn't hear it. And it wasn't until I saw the look on several bystanders' faces that I realized, oh, they're talking to me or talking about me, whatever. So there was no need for me to dodge. And technically, there was no need for me to even stop them because it wasn't present for me. So before it could find a place to land, I had no reason to be upset. I had no reason to. Now, there was the thought of that's why I don't have superpowers, because if I did, I would elevate the car, turn it sideways, and vigorously shake some sense into them. Right? It wasn't about, oh man, they pissed me off. Oh man, I hate people who. None of that was even present. So our invitation is to be so enveloped in love that even when such things happen around us, may be directed towards us, there's nowhere for it to land. As Sun Tzu says, for to win 100 victories and 100 battles is not the highest of skills. To subdue the enemy without even fighting is the highest skill. And I would even remix that and say the highest skill is actually to be able to move through life where there is no enemy at all who could ever stand before you. Breathe. To move through life in such a way that there is no germ or bacteria of the isms and the phobias and the misias. They can't touch you. In other words, in terms of when we think medically, biologically, what we're talking about is vaccines, right? So a vaccination describes the act of receiving a vaccine. Immunization and inoculation describe the process of becoming immune through vaccination, right? We know this. We know this from our science classes in middle school and high school. We may even know this because of everything we were, inundated with because of COVID. But the question isn't this. The question is, are you vaccinated with the healing power of love? Have you become immunized or inoculated so you are immune to hate, immune to fear mongering, comparing yourself to others, guilt and shame, falling down the rabbit hole of conspiracy theories, and any of the other forms of infections caused and spread by the colonization consciousness? Are you vaccinated? Have you been immunized and inoculated so that these things do not affect you? If not, this is your invitation. If not, right here and right now is your invitation. Deepak Chopra says, when your internal reference point is your spirit, when you are immune, you have been immunized against criticism and unfearful of any challenge, when you are immune to criticism and you are unfearful of any challenge, you can harness the power of love and use that power, use that energy creatively for the experience of affluence, abundance, joy, power, and evolution. When you can harness the power of the divine, the power of the universe, when you can harness it and know that it is already what you are, not just within you, but it is what you are, and you are using the creative power, you are using this energy of love and the divine, you are using it to shift and transform, to evolve your consciousness, your actions, all your entire mental equivalent, then those ripple out into the world. And there is transformation that occurs. But once again, do you know what your reference point is? Are you aware of your reference point? Do you even know what it means to have a reference point? What might we be referring to when we say reference point? First, you have to identify it. Well, what is your reference point? I'll give you a clue. Your reference point is how you apply and practice principle, how you actively practice science of mind and spirit, how you actively practice the principles of new thought. Your reference point is that I always come back to this. Whatever is going on, I bring it back to this. I bring principle to this experience, and the experience changes. And even when the experience, quote unquote, doesn't specifically change, because I have changed how I respond to the experience, in essence, the experience has changed. My experience of it has changed. Now, the thing itself, the experience itself, may still be the same. It's raining outside. I don't want it to rain. I wanted to do something outside. It's still raining. But when I bring it back to principle and I anchor and ground and practice and apply principle, then I am no longer upset or dismayed by, or I no longer allow the being upset or the dissatisfaction of the rain to impact or influence the remainder of my day, which then means I've transformed how I navigate the rest of me and my day and my actions and everything else throughout the rest of my day. So it's still raining, but I'm okay with it now. I have no need to curse the raindrops. In fact, I may say, you know what? I'm still going to go out. Where's my raincoat? Where's my umbrella? I'm still going to go. While I may not do what I intended to do, go get on my skateboard and go to the skate park, because it's difficult to do skateboarding with an umbrella over your head. But what I'll do is I'll go walk through the park. So the experience may be unchanged, but because we change, because we are now practicing and applying principle, our reference point, we bring that reference point. When our reference point is spirit, when our reference point is principle, then things change. And Frank says, it's really a wonder that I haven't dropped all of my ideals because they seem so absurd and impossible to carry out. Yet I keep them because in spite of everything, I still believe that people are really good at heart, that the essence of humanity is good, even when humans choose to do atrocious and horrible things. I believe that at the heart of humanity, people are good. And so I will not surrender or relinquish my ideals. I will not surrender my vision of a world that works for all. I will not surrender my vision and my mission to be an ambassador of love and to carry the message of love. I will continue to dream the impossible dream until the impossible separates and becomes I'm possible. I am the I am that is ever possible. And I bring that possibility into everything and everywhere. And I draw unto me others who are like minded, other healers, metaphysicians, other superheroes who are here to advocate for those who don't yet know. They don't know who and what they are. And so we show up as 21st century New Thought Good Samaritans and we offer support. We offer our allyship. We offer our power and our presence to be a beneficial presence and transform the world. Breathe. When we are Godding out loud, we are not only immune to the diseases affecting many around the world, but we are also an active agent of healing of those diseases. Now, this does not mean that we do not witness or do not experience the effects of hate or fear or violence. Rather, it means we have effective practices and tools to address those effects, in consciousness, in heart, in body, and in the world. Godding is the ultimate demonstration of being a co-creative advocate for, of, and as love in action. Are we ready to practice Godding more often than not? This week's declaration or affirmation, I will say it first, and if it resonates with you, say it with me on our second go round. I choose to remain conscious and aware of the presence of love. Breathe. Together. I choose to remain conscious and aware of the presence of love. And so it is. This week's journal questions. Not sure why that showed up that way, but number one, changing the world starts at home. Look at the love in your relationships, in your own personal life, and ask, how can you demonstrate love more often? Maybe sending notes and texts of gratitude and appreciation. Maybe bless the people that you love via prayer. Maybe practice radical forgiveness for yourself and for others. Number two, what can you do to step outside of your comfort zone and speak up, speak out, and heal the community as an advocate, as a co-creator? Number 3, if love is in fact all there is, what does it invite you to do? Number 4, do you believe or trust that all of life is unfolding perfectly? If so, why? And if not, why not? Breathe. And let's go into that space of infinite knowing that we refer to as prayer, this spiritual mind treatment as our closing benediction. Simply anchoring and grounding in the awareness that God is all there is. I speak this knowing that everything that was shared today regarding the power of love is already present in the lives, in the minds, in the hearts, in the souls, in the words, in the bodies of everyone present, everyone watching, and everyone who's not watching or who are watching somewhere else and someone else. It's still the truth of their being. That because of this great and grand and glorious love, we are inoculated against the power of evil or hatred, any of the isms and phobias and mesias in the world. We are inoculated against the effects of the consciousness of colonization. We are a beneficial, healing presence in the world. That wherever we go, we represent hope and love and life affirming faith and the activity of spirit showing up as our actions, our service, the way in which we move through life in relationship, the way we steward our joy and our magic and our laughter and our bliss. And as a result, we draw unto us those who are seeking, those who are wanting, those who are needing. In the same way that a hospital draws unto it those who are seeking health and well-being, we draw unto us the exact same thing. We also draw unto us other co-conspirators, other co-creators, other advocates. We draw unto us our beloved community. And as we come together of like mind, we touch and agree. Love wins. God wins. We breathe. And knowing that love wins, knowing that God wins, then we go through life in such a way where we know we are already victorious. That to such a degree that we understand that we are transforming the consciousness of Florida. We are sowing seeds of wokeness, of racial equity and justice, of gender equality and justice. That no matter who is in Florida or Texas or wherever in the world, if they are LGBTQ, we are already victorious. Love wins. God wins. People of color, love wins. God wins. Indigenous First Peoples, love wins. God wins. Women, love wins. God wins. Transgender children, adults, love wins. God wins. We are already victorious. And the victory is the demonstration of a world that works for all. The victory is health and well-being and support. The victory is the beloved community. The law says yes. That means it's done. Now we act. Now we move. Now we demonstrate. Now we live as answered prayer. And so it is. Namaste, blessings, much love and appreciation. See you soon.